Hello Skin Revolution peeps, welcome to another edition where Diane Swaine and I talk about certain aspects and elements of how we eat and the reasons why we choose certain food types, why we binge eat, and why we sometimes have a very, very unhealthy relationship with food. So this week we're going to talk about 12 steps of overcoming binge eating. I'm sure all of us are secretly guilty of that. I speak to a lot of clients on the phone on a day-to-day basis, and I hear a lot about people that raid the fridge at night, people that secret eat, people that even go to the depths of sitting in the car, locking themselves in the car with a takeaway before they walk through the front door. So we've all been guilty of secret eating, binge eating, sometimes denying to ourselves how much we've actually eaten. And Diane's going to share some really simple, easy, quick techniques to identify the reasons why we behave that way and try and change your mindset to try and combat that type of behaviour.
Hello, welcome everybody again this week. Great to be all together again. I've got my auto cue as usual down here. So as Ampika says, we're going to look at 12 steps to help overcome binge eating. Point one is quit fad diets. Fad diets can often be very unhealthy, and studies show that overly restrictive eating methods may trigger episodes of binge eating. One study of 496 adolescent girls found that fasting was associated with higher risk of binge eating. Similarly, another study in 103 women noticed that abstaining altogether from certain foods resulted in increased cravings and a higher risk of overeating. That stands to reason. It's like when we say we can't have something, we want it all the more. Yeah. And it's that kind of philosophy, really. We need to eat more whole, unprocessed foods such as fruits, vegetables and whole grains, and moderate our intake of treats rather than excluding them completely from our diet. I know Ampika was talking, you were saying last week, weren't you, about when you get that massive craving, you get like an options 40-calorie chocolate drink, which I think is a fantastic idea because you can't deny yourself completely. And I think if you do, that's obviously when we look at cravings and binge eating, because it's a complete no-no. We want it all the more. It's human psychology. It's like when we say to little children, you know, don't touch that. And they just touch it, don't they? It's the same thing. Avoid skipping meals. Setting regular eating schedules and sticking to it is one of the most effective ways to overcome binge eating, so we don't get hungry, really. Skipping meals can contribute to cravings and increase the risk of overeating. Studies found that adhering to a regular eating pattern was associated with the decreased frequency of binge eating. So try and set your regular eating, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever suits you, but stick to that regular pattern, really. Practice mindfulness, and we're going to go on in subsequent weeks to talk more in detail about this. Last week we talked about mindful eating, and it's all related. Mindfulness is a practice that involves listening to your body and paying attention to how you feel at this moment. Something that you need to practice because we're not very good at it naturally. So this technique can prevent overeating by helping a person learn to recognise when they no longer feel hungry.
Do you know what is a really good, sorry to interrupt there, Dan, but what is a really good point is when I started going on my weight loss journey, every time I wanted to binge eat, I would allow myself to, but I'd write it down. Sounds stupid, so I am experiencing what I'm experiencing, but I'm acknowledging what I'm experiencing. So I'm going to write down a piece of paper and say, I feel really upset, I feel angry, I feel frustrated, so I'm going to eat now. What am I going to eat? And I'd write it down while I'm eating. I'm having a McDonald's, I'm going to have a Greggs, I'm going to go into the kitchen, I'm going to have 2 packets of crisps, I'm going to make myself 2 rounds of toast. And I'd talk and I'd write it all down to myself. And at the end of it, I'd ask myself, do I feel happy and satisfied? And the answer would be no. Now, halfway through it, I might have said, yeah, I'm feeling satisfied. Yeah, I'm feeling accomplished. But right at the end of it, every time I wrote, how do I feel now? I've had a binge of 3,000 calories. How do I actually feel now? And the words would be, all the time, unsatisfied. So you're having a running journal with yourself. You're knowing that when you're going through that experience, you're experiencing it, you're absorbing it, you're acknowledging it, you're registering it, and then you're asking yourself, right after, how do you feel? And every time you feel unsatisfied. So after a bit, the brain starts to tell you, why do I want to write down a piece of paper that I feel unsatisfied? I don't. I want to write down a piece of paper that I feel satisfied.
And that's so interesting because, as we know and we talked about last week, you cannot be sated by eating on your emotions. You know, it's not like, so we eat on emotion, or we eat because we're hungry, and obviously we can be sated when it's a true physical hunger. But when we eat on our emotions like that, we literally can eat endlessly, and we don't fix those feelings. That
it's horrible.
We're in denial.
It's horrible because in the frenzy of it, I don't know what I'm thinking. It's all irrational thoughts. There's no logic. I'm not in control. I've lost control. And right at the end, I asked myself, okay, I've done all of this. How do I feel? I still feel empty. I feel physically nearly sick, but I still feel empty. I need to address it because I'm not going to do something in my life, anything, binge eat, whatever, and keep feeling unsatisfied, but yet I still keep doing it. I'm not going to do it to myself.
No, that is great though, what you've said about, because that links in with the worksheet we use and the journal that you talk about, because you are completely recognising your emotions, why you've eaten that way, and then you're reflecting and recognising, actually, I don't want to do that again because I don't feel any better at the end of it either.
No.
So
it's understanding yourself though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
So for example, talking about personal things, shouldn't really talk about personal, but we'll do so on Sunday night. I had a tiff with my boyfriend, and normally he really affects my moods. If I'm not getting on great with him and we are having sometimes a turbulent time, that will be a trigger point for me to go and binge eat or go and do something silly or end up in an argument with someone, a silly argument. And I thought, you know what, I'm feeling a bit sad, I'm feeling a little bit gloomy. I'm going to still make sure that I go to bed early and sleep well. I'm still going to make sure that I'm not going to eat after 8 o'clock. I'm still going to go and get all my tasty foods in my fridge, look after my body, eat the right amount of calories. I have got a choice. Just because you have made me feel like that, I don't have to go and relive it and sabotage myself with food. And I'm really proud of myself for that because I've taken control. I understand myself, I know myself, and I know what's better for me. And okay, I still feel maybe a little bit gloomy, even though we've patched things back up, but I have not let external influences sabotage my hard work and me taking control of what I'm doing.
I love that, because that, me being a TA counsellor, that sounds to me like you took control of the child. So the child in you was like hurt and a bit down and everything because of what had happened, but you got really adult about it and said, you know what, I'm not actually going to let those outside influences affect me. I'm going to do what I was going to do anyway, irrespective of that. That's brilliant. Yeah. Well done, you.
Oh, thank you. Feels nice. But it's only because you're getting to know yourself. If I hadn't done all all of this, I wouldn't know myself.
It's that attunement with your body, isn't it? Your emotions, all your physical feelings and all your emotional feelings, and don't deny yourself how you're feeling and try and understand it rather than eat on it and suppress it and then eat on it again and suppress it. You need to sit with those feelings. Take 5 minutes, don't have something to eat, and just really try and note down on the worksheet, try and understand where you are, who you're with, what you're actually feeling. Are you hurt? Are you angry? Are you insecure? Have you got problems in certain areas? How are you actually feeling? And then 10 minutes later, see if you still want something to eat.
I mean, I think that everyone has got willpower. I really do. And I think for people that are watching that say, oh, I really struggle, it is a struggle, but it's just learning to identify who you are and what your trigger points are and analysing your own behaviour. Everyone has got bundles of self-motivation. I believe it's just finding it. Everyone's got this magical trunk inside them, but sometimes you need someone to open up the trunk, get rid of all the rubbish and all the debris, and find that source of willpower and inner strength. And you've all got it, and just tune in each week and sharing tips and talking about things, you will finally unleash it. I promise you, it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, because we know this isn't easy, but we're here to support you, and that's what all this is about, isn't it? So, yeah, keep tuning in and we'll keep helping. Okay, so we've gone through mindfulness, point 3. Point 4, staying hydrated, drinking plenty of water throughout the day. Simple but very effective way to curb cravings and stop overeating. I've done it numerous times myself. I think I'm starving and I'm not. I'm just hydrated, and drink lots of water and feel much better. And studies show that increasing water intake actually is linked to decreased hunger and decreased calorie intake. Other studies indicate that drinking more water can boost your metabolism and your weight loss. The amount of water each person should drink daily depends on various factors. Obviously, we're all different, so listen to your body and listen to obviously, when you're thirsty, and when you're thirsty, drink on that, because your body's very clever. Try yoga, point 5. Yoga is a practice that incorporates both the body and mind by using specific breathing exercises, poses and the meditation to reduce stress and enhance relaxation. Studies indicate that yoga can help encourage healthy eating habits and reduce the risk of emotional eating. Research also shows that yoga can decrease levels of stress hormones like cortisol to keep stress under control and prevent binge eating. That's a very, very well known fact. Eat more fibre. Fibre moves very slowly through our digestive system, so it actually does keep you feeling a lot fuller for a lot longer. So high fibres are good. Okay, point 7, clean out the kitchen. Back to my Peter Kay sketch. Having lots of junk food or trigger foods in the kitchen can make it much easier to binge, because everything's at hand, isn't it, to grab hold of. So keeping healthy foods on hand can reduce your risk of emotional eating by limiting the number of unhealthy options that you've actually got around you. So start by clearing out all the processed snacks you've got, like your chips and your sweets and your pre-packed convenience foods, and swap them for healthy alternatives. Obviously, like Ampika does, always keep to one side those like choices or little Boots chocolate drinks or whatever it might be for the hour of need, when we need 40 calories of chocolate or whatever it might be. That's important.
I mean, sometimes you do end up caving in and you do think, sod it.
We're human, aren't we? Yeah.
But ultimately, once you recognise it, and if you can write down in your little notepad how you feel whilst you're eating it, what you've actually eaten, and what the end product is. I mean, there's a difference of, I really want a pizza and I've enjoyed a pizza and I've worked really hard, and Monday through to Friday I've eaten really healthy and I've made the right food choices, so I'm going to treat myself, and I've had a pizza, I've enjoyed every mouthful, it's been tasty. But then there's a flip side when we don't just have the pizza, we'll go and get the dessert, then we'll carry on snacking throughout the night, then we'll go and top it off with a load of alcohol, and it's just, it gets to the point where you lose the pleasure in food, and it becomes like, it's just like you're going through a task, aren't you, really, just devouring whatever's in your eye line.
Yeah, that's so
and
true.
Your taste buds stop tasting the food as well.
Yeah, that's it. That's back to mindful eating as well, isn't it? Enjoy every mouthful and chew many, many times. I think it's about 20 times or something, my dentist told me anyway. But digest things, get the different flavours in your mouth, so still on cleaning out your kitchen. Stock your kitchen with fruits, vegetables, protein-rich foods, grains, nuts and seeds. All improve your diet and reduce your risk of binge drinking on unhealthy foods. Okay, point 8, go to the gym, and by the gym, I mean it can be your front room, your lounge, your sitting room, your kitchen. I used to have, when I'd have the children, I got an exercise bike at home. I used to stick it in front of the television because I couldn't face going to the gym, and I got fit that way. And if you can get to the gym and you want to do that, that is fantastic. If you want to stay at home, there's so many different videos. You can get a mat in front of the telly, watch everything right across YouTube. It literally spoons feed you whatever exercise
doesn't
you
cost
want.
anything, does it?
Doesn't cost anything at all.
I'm a big Zumba. I love Zumba. I used to teach Zumba. I'm a qualified Zumba teacher. I used to teach children Zumba. Zumba is fantastic. You can have 2 left feet. You can still move. So if you have never seen Zumba or heard about Zumba, I suggest you go on YouTube. You don't need a lot of space, and just move your body to the beat. Literally just move your body to the beat, or whatever part. Some people really struggle with the mobility. Move any part of your body, whether it be your head, your neck, or just your arms, or just your toes. Just move to the beat. It's fantastic, and it makes you feel great afterwards as well.
Yeah, great. That's great advice. So there's your gym all set up at home. I just go on Spotify and dance around the bedroom sometimes. Okay, point 9, eat breakfast every day. Starting each day off with a healthy breakfast might reduce the risk of binge eating later on in the day. Several studies have found that maintaining a regular eating pattern is associated with less binge eating. Plus, filling up on the right foods can keep you feeling full to curb the cravings later on. Okay, point 10 is get enough sleep. We've talked a lot about sleep and it's really important. We're going to be talking in the weeks ahead about sleep. It affects your hunger levels and appetite, and sleep deprivation may be linked to binge eating. Okay, keep a food journal. Ampika, you're a massive advocate of food journals, aren't you? A food and mood journal that tracks what you eat and how you feel is a really effective way of controlling and reflecting on what you're eating and looking for the emotional food triggers and promote, better health. We've put together this worksheet that you can put in your journal, or you can use it as a substitute if you haven't got a journal. We'll send these via email to you, anybody that wants one, and it's just basically keeping a diary of what you're eating and how you're feeling before you start to eat as well. So if you email us, we'll send you one of those out. And last but not least, find someone to talk to. Talking to a friend or peer when you feel like binging may help. When you feel like binging will help you reduce the likelihood of overeating. Talking to a therapist or counsellor can help with any underlying issues you may have connected to overeating and also your relationship with food. But the thing about this is, I think that if you're feeling bad and you feel like you're going into a massive binge session, or you just have an uncontrollable craving, I would pick up the phone to us. Ampika's team in the office are absolutely fantastic. Or pick up the phone to a friend and just talk to somebody and tell them how you're feeling, and just get yourself through that extreme period of craving with somebody that understands.
I mean, the great thing is once you start to recognise some of your behaviour, you do become like your own best friend. You can understand it, you can see it. It's like before the dark storm comes along, you can identify what your trigger points are. And the great thing about it is once you can identify them, you can equip yourself with tools and techniques so you can override it. It's almost like, an obstacle. A few times you keep running into the wall, and after a while, you learn how to put your best trainers on, you learn how to literally glide over that obstacle and land back on the ground, scratch and blemish free. So I hope you've enjoyed those 11 healthy tips and techniques. Tune in next week. As you all know, Diane Swaine is a fully qualified counsellor and therapist, and if there's certain emotional issues and attachments that you have to food and you'd like to have a one-on-one service, Diane is obviously based in the northwest of England, but she can do therapy sessions via Skype, via FaceTime, or over the phone. So please tune in. Any questions that you'd like to ask us, that you want us to talk about, any certain topics or something personal to you, please drop us an email at info@skinnyrevolution.co.uk or info@dianeswainetherapy.co.uk. Both the email addresses are down below. We'd love to hear from you, and see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.